The big question here today is what are chatbots?
Like a boss.
So other than the generative AI chatbot, we have a rule-based chatbot.
Okay.
And we have an
Hello guys, and welcome back to our weekly Data Insights podcast. My name is Paul Ondiek, and today with me is Ernest Hanson. So Ernest is a machine learning expert and a software engineer, and together we are going to discuss chatbots, the technologies. We are going to try and understand the technologies that underpin chatbots, various types of chatbots that we have, and the various applications of chatbots in the industries. So welcome, Ernest.
thank you, Paul. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to come on board and share the insights on how chatbots work.
Thank you, Ernest. So maybe before we delve into that, you can just have a brief introduction of yourself so that our viewers may get to know you.
So my name is Ernest Hanson. I am a software engineer as well as a machine learning expert. So currently I am working as a tutor for African Center for Data Science in the part of data science and machine learning.
Okay. Thank you for that. So the big question here today is what are chatbots? Because when you talk of the chatbots, there are those who are hearing this term for the first time. There are those who have heard it before. But what is chatbots in general?
So chatbots are AI-powered softwares that are used in various industries or platforms to enhance their productivity. Mainly, they give an output of human-like responses, depending with the types of chatbots being used within that institution.
So they give human-like. So okay, when you talk of AI-powered softwares that give human-like response, then somebody might easily tend to liken them to the to what we call the generative AI, things like ChatGPT, things like the Gemini. So what is the difference actually?
So, to give a context of how the different types of chatbots are there, we can find that there are three main chatbots.
Okay.
So, first of all, there's the one known as generative AI chatbot,
Okay.
just as the ones that you have mentioned.
So those are chatbots as well. So the ChatGPT, the Gemini,
Yes.
the large language models. So they are chatbots as well.
Yes, they are chatbots, and they actually employ different methodologies.
Okay.
So in this case, for one part that you have mentioned, the large language models,
Okay.
it's just one part of how the generative AI can get responses or can generate responses. Other than that, we have natural language processing, where it can actually process the input of the user in order to give a correct input to the machine. This is
So that means there are softwares that are able to understand the language that we use. That is the natural human language, other than the computer programming languages.
yes.
Okay.
So one particular case of NLP or natural language processing is in the fact that it can be used for machine translation. This is in the context of translating both the human and the machine
And the machine
language. So it can communicate in between you and the computer or the actual large language model that is actually processing your inputs and trying to give an output.
An output in a language that I understand. So it takes the language that I give, the input that I give in my language, translate it into a language that the computer understands, and again picks the output that the computer gives and translate it back into a language that I understand.
Yes.
So that is how it works.
Yes. But there are a bit more factors that are engaged here.
Okay.
So in context, we can see that when you give an input to a generative AI chatbot, you'll find that it will undergo, first of all, tokenization.
Okay.
And this tokenization, it would identify all the different words within your sentence or try to classify them. After that, it would undergo something called stemming or lemmatization. So
Lematization.
yeah, on this part of stemming is where it would actually check on the words.
Okay.
So for example, if you said running, runs, such things, it would look at it and quantify it. For example, run instead of running, runs. This is how it tries to understand.
So it now looks like it now looks into the grammar, like well,
Yes, part of it, it looks into the grammar, it looks into the sentiment. For example, if you use the chatbot to translate in between English and Russian language,
yeah.
you'd find that while translating a direct translation, let's say for example, in the part where you're saying the spirit is willing but the body is not, or the flesh is not. If you do the direct translation to Russian and then back to English without sentiment analysis, you'd find that it would give you an output like the vodka is willing, but the meat is unwilling.
The meat is unwilling.
So that's a direct translation without the sentiment analysis. But while applying the different sentiment analysis, it can actually understand that what the spirit is and the flesh
and what the
is.
flesh is
Yes.
in the context of that conversation, or in the
Yes.
context of that statement.
Yes.
Okay. So that is quite comprehensive with regard to the various types of chatbots that we have. So now chatbots, people have been talking about them of late quite often, and it seems they have got a wide array of applications.
Yes.
So I don't know if you don't mind, maybe you'd help us understand a few areas in which we can make use of these chatbots.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in this part we can.
Okay.
So other than the generative AI chatbot, we have a rule-based chatbot.
Okay.
And we have an AI-powered chatbot. So this would just be a modification of the rule-based chatbot.
So AI-powered chatbot is a modification of the
Rule-based
rule-based
chatbot.
Okay.
So in this part, we could actually find that there are various instances where these chatbots can be applied in real life. For example, if you're trying to get answers from, example, a restaurant or an institution where it actually has predefined inputs. Let's say if you're going to buy pizza.
Yeah, please.
So in this case, a rule-based chatbot would be best applicable. You could use the generative AI chatbot, but this might be expensive or costly to the business.
Yeah.
So in the part of a rule-based chatbot, this includes predefined rules that are there or set within the chatbot. This gives the user the option to choose the different pizzas that they might want.
Yeah.
So they might choose the type of pizza that they want.
So for instance, maybe now predefined instructions in this case means like now they are list, so they maybe the the hotel, or what do I call it, or the restaurant produces different types of pizza. So they feed this information, the list of the pizza that they produce to the chatbot, such that now when you get there, you simply pick on one.
Yes, you could either pick on one or you could pick on multiple. So in this case, you'd find that you're presented with the rule-based chatbot. First of all, it might start off by greeting you, and then after that, it would ask you a question, which type of pizza that you want. Then it would outline the different types of pizzas.
Yes.
So by you choosing a specific pizza, it can then highlight other options that are there. For example, if you have chosen, let's say, pepperoni pizza, it can ask you if you might need another topping or the different type of toppings that are there.
Yeah.
If you might also need a drink with your pizza. So this is just a specific way of how role-based chatbots can work.
Okay.
The other part would be the AI-powered chatbots. Let's say, for an example, in a bank or in a financial institution,
Yeah.
if you required to get some answers or ask some questions to those people, maybe you want to find out about their policy or the various features that they have.
That they have with the various products that they offer.
Yes. So in this case, using an AI-powered chatbot, this is in combination with a rule-based. The chatbot can actually identify or understand your input much better rather than a rule-based chatbot. So by giving it an input, let's say if you're trying to find out what their policy is on maybe the interest rates that they give or such a thing. So by going to the AI-powered chatbot and you input your prompt, you can then get an answer from the chatbot by it going through the various policies that are there and giving you a
And
feedback.
finding out the best feedback that suits your question.
Yes.
Okay.
So in this case, it would highly optimize in terms of time needed. So for
So
example,
it cuts on the time spent.
yes, this is for time management. For example, if you were going to ask this question from a teller, without the chatbot, you take a very long time in terms of queuing to actually get there, for the teller to actually refer to their policy and then get back to you. For a chatbot, it's automated. It automatically checks within their knowledge base and gives you an output.
So that sounds quite interesting. So it means it seems we have quite a number of areas in which we can apply this. So other than the financial sector and the general sectors, which other sectors do you think are suitable for the application of these chatbots?
So
Maybe health sector. Can we apply chatbots in the health sector?
yes, so chatbots can assist you in terms of the waiting times. You could select where you want to go or what you want to do. This is on a general rule-based chatbot or also an AI-powered rule-based chatbot. Could work quite similar here. So it could assist you in shortening the time or getting the medication that you need. This could be by uploading your prescription to the chatbot, on which it can get all the details of the symptoms that you have. Then it can take this information and forward it to the specific health person who is there. From this health person, they can then get in contact with you or reach out to you in order to find out more and advise you on the medication that you might need.
And then maybe can it also assist in the diagnosis process? Because, for instance, say you've got the symptoms, so you can maybe key in the various symptoms that you have, and then it runs through the database and finds out based on the symptoms that you have shared what you are most likely to be suffering from, so that it filters out those other irrelevant categories. Can that be another possible area in which chatbots can be applied in the healthcare medical sector?
So yes, it could be applied like that, although it is not recommended that such a chatbot be used for diagnosis or such, because it might not understand any underlying diseases that might be there or health issues that might be there. Also, you might see that if you use this chatbot for diagnosis, you might find that it will actually not give you a better recommendation. This is in terms of, let's say if you have a patient within a health institution where they are suffering from a flu or they have diabetes also.
Okay, yeah.
So in such an occasion, you might find that this specific patient, if they come in for medication for flu, it might counteract or it might not go well with the medication for diabetes. This is, for example, maybe in painkillers. So I'm not really a medical practitioner, so I might not give accurate results in terms of this.
Yeah.
So that was just the context.
Yeah, but that reminds us, because from Israel, medical center called Beth, they tested they tested that is the performance of the clinical performance, the performance of the chatbots and the medics in terms of clinical reasoning and in terms of diagnosis, and the overall results were that the chatbot outperformed the medics, the pediatricians, in the clinical stage. But now, when it came to the diagnosis stage, it failed. Or let me say, the doctors outperformed it. So I think this is just a reflection of what you said. We cannot fully rely on this to get maybe let me call it to get accurate diagnostic results.
Yes, I would agree with you on that point.
So that's quite okay. So what do you see? What do you foresee in terms of the growth and adoption of chatbots generally in all the sectors in the near future?
So, with the current advancements of the AI field, it can tremendously enhance on how chatbots are used. For example, it could be used in various sectors in terms of learning institutions, where it would enhance the knowledge of students. They could interact with these chatbots and get a good way of understanding. As you know, people are different and that their understanding is also different. Also, chatbots could improve tremendously in terms of the different sectors of e-commerce, where it could highly improve in terms of reducing the time needed to answer questions by those assistants. So this is in terms of employing virtual assistants of the chatbots. It could assist better the overall growth of the economy.
So actually, now that you mentioned the education sector, this brings us to some ethical concerns. It brings us to question the ethical concerns when it comes to use of the chatbots and the generative AI in this. So we realize that we find that learners are now trying to employ the use of chatbots and the generative language models to try and cheat in the exams. So what's your take on this?
I understand the context where you're coming from. So in this part, I would say that rather than just looking at the ethical concerns, we could also employ various methods of countering this by using our own chatbots in terms of analyzing whether such answer was given by a chatbot or a human response.
So we can also use a chatbot to counter search.
Yes.
So if it's a generative, if it's an answer that has been generated using an AI, so the chatbot will detect.
The chatbot will detect.
Okay.
And if in the case that the chatbot might fail to detect, we can also employ methods of handling the mouse movement within the screen. This is on the software engineering part.
Okay.
So where you'd have the student have the mouse only within the screen that they're using. If it goes out within that screen, it actually gives a warning to the student.
That probably the student is on another page trying to do something else.
Yes.
Okay. So Ernest, that is quite impressive. It's quite insightful and quite educative. It's been my pleasure having you today on this podcast. Thank you and welcome again another time.
Thank you so much, Paul.
Yes. Thank you guys for being with us throughout this session. So we'll be producing such podcast weekly. So if you have not joined, if you have not subscribed to our channel, kindly hit the subscribe button and like, comment,